Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President,
whether directly calling U.S. President Trump a bully or indirectly referring to him as a colonist, world leaders today are openly criticizing him from the world stage.
The words from President Trump were expressly intended to put pressure on me to yield on my principle. Mr. Speaker, he wants me to yield on my position, and I'm not going to do so.
But we do prefer respect to bullies.
It seems that every day we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer.
Over the past week, Trump has taken several major steps that has irked the European Union, whether threatening to annex Greenland.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
Imposing 200% tariffs on 8 EU nations, or leaking the private chat between Macron and Trump. NATO countries and allies are now fed up with Trump's tariff and annexation threats.
Competition from the United States of America through trade agreements that undermine our export interests, demand maximum concessions, and openly aim to weaken and subordinate Europe, combined with an endless accumulation of new tariffs that are fundamentally unacceptable, even more so when they are used as leverage against territorial sovereignty. China is welcome, but what we need is more Chinese foreign direct investment in Europe, in some key sectors, to contribute to our growth, to transfer some technologies, and not just to export towards Europe some devices or products which sometimes don't have the same standards or are much more subsidized as the one being produced in Europe.
Canada has agreed to allow up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into the Canadian market, with the most favored nation tariff rate of 6.1%. This is a return to the levels that existed prior to recent trade frictions. But it's a return under an agreement that promises much more for Canadians. It's expected that within 3 years, this agreement will drive considerable Chinese investment in Canada's auto sector, creating good careers in Canada and accelerating our progress towards a net zero future and the auto industry of the future.
It is Trump that is questioning NATO. And her response was measured, and I thought something like that could have been said even earlier. So when one of the leading allies is indeed undermining bilateral but also multilateral at all levels relations with another ally, of course it undermines NATO's cohesion and credibility, and it serves only our adversaries, such as Russia and China.
Amid growing global interest in Chinese business, Trump used the Davos summit platform to downplay China.
I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills. And yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good way of looking at it. They're smart. China's very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them. But they don't use them themselves. They put up a couple of big wind farms, but they don't use them. They just put them up to show people what they could look like. They don't spin. They don't do anything. They use a thing called coal, mostly. But China goes with the coal, they go with oil and gas, they're starting to look at nuclear a little bit, and they're doing just fine. They make a fortune selling the windmills, though, and I think really that's one that they wouldn't be surprised if it stopped. They are shocked that it continues to go. They're very friendly with me.